Now is Republican Congressman of New York, the great John Katko. He's a member. He's the ranking member of the House Homeland Security Committee. Congressman, good to see you. You and I served together in the House. I've been kind of giving some heat to this $280 billion chips package. I get that you want to invest in chips, bring semiconductor manufacturing back to the U.S. You voted for it. Why?
Yeah, let me break it down. First of all, only about 59 or $60 billion of this bill is CHIPS Act funding. The rest of it reauthorizes like the Department of Energy, NASA, and others. So that's really a separate pot of funding that was lopped into the bill in the Senate. So what people are really concerned about the CHIPS Act is, you know, are we subsidizing these wealthy corporations? Like, that's part of the puzzle. And what the biggest question is economic security and national security. Taiwan has 90% of the high-end chip market in the world. And with this administration, I have no comfort whatsoever that China won't go into Taiwan and take over that market. And that's why Mike Pompeo, former Secretary of State, Wilbur Ross, former Secretary of Commerce, Mark Esper, former Defense Secretary, Robert Lighthizer, U.S. Trade Representative, and Robert O'Brien from the National Security Advisor, all under President Trump, all strongly support this move because what it's going to do is bring the manufacturing back to the U.S. And by the way, this bill is going to spawn probably 10 times the investment from the private sector by investing this amount. So to me, if you look at the whole picture, this is a very, very important bill for the United States national security. You know,
and I appreciate that, and I understand a lot of that. At some point, with a $30 trillion debt, we have to have some kind of eye towards our massive spending on top of massive spending. But I want to move with you here because it looks like Mitch McConnell got completely rolled and played in the Senate. He gave votes to the CHIPS Act. Not thinking there'd come a Build Back Better bill with Joe Manchin. That did happen. And so this is going to be $700 of new spending that's going to come from the Senate, probably to the House. But what concerns me the most is this tweet from Al Gore, who said, the Inflation Reduction Act has the potential to be a historic turning point. It represents the single largest investment in climate solutions and environmental justice in U.S. history. Decades of tireless work by climate advocates across the country led to this moment. So you have Al Gore celebrating this massive bill coming out in the Senate, this massive deal. Can Republicans in the House or Republicans in the Senate stop it?
See, that's the problem. First of all, I want to comment. He's right. It is historic, but for the wrong reasons, because it's going to pile on to a time when we already have almost 9% inflation, and we're in a recession now, and even the Democrats are admitting that. And so, adding this $700 billion in spending on top of that for something that has no national security interests and something that we should have had more discussion on is a real problem. The problem is they're using what's called reconciliation. And since they control the House and the Senate, they don't need a single vote from Republicans and they can ram it through. And that's why it's imperative that we take over the House this fall and hopefully the Senate, and then we can undo whatever they're trying to do with this ridiculous overspending.
Yeah, that is the break wall for bad policy.
It is.
Republicans having at least the House to stop this insanity. But you are the lead Republican on the Homeland Security Committee, so I want to get your take on this. President Biden was speaking with China's Xi earlier today, and Xi warned President Biden, quote, those who play with fire end up getting burned. And this was in reference to Nancy Pelosi potentially making a trip to Taiwan. What do you make of those aggressive comments from Xi?
Well, it's just more intimidation by the Chinese. And let's face it, the Chinese are not our friends. They're malign actors. They attack our systems with cyber attacks. They prop up terrible regimes all over the world. They're friends with Russia. They don't have any of our interests at all. Their only interest is to dominate the world economy and world issues going forward. And they literally are executing a plan to do that. And that's what concerns me so much about Biden is he is so weak. He's even trying to tell Nancy Pelosi, don't go to Taiwan because we don't want you to piss off President Xi. Well, that's ridiculous to me. Well, we're the world leader. We need to stand up to stand up to China and tell them, hey, look, you know, you're not going to push us around. And I would like to see stronger language coming back from Biden in that regard.
You bring up a good point because I want to ask you about that. Senator Tom Cotton says the leak of Speaker Pelosi's scheduled Taiwan trip came straight from the White House. Take a listen.
Well, the word I've heard in Congress is that the leak of Nancy Pelosi's trip came straight from the White House. The pressure came from Joe Biden, who doesn't want her to take this trip because he's once again kowtowing to Beijing. But Lloyd Austin and Joe Biden shouldn't be worried about China's aggressiveness. They should be making China worry about our aggressiveness. For decades, American lawmakers have been traveling to Taiwan of both parties, and that should continue now, especially after it became public.
You know, Congressman, it makes me wonder whose side Joe Biden is on, or whose side this administration is on. And it begs the question, is Joe Biden compromised from the foreign business deals that his son Hunter did, and therefore basically exposing this trip of Nancy Pelosi so the Chinese can actually come after her and stop the trip?
Well, the bottom line is Tom Cotton's right. He's absolutely right, and his take is absolutely right. But also, look at the bigger picture. Biden, when he first got in office, showed incredible weakness in Afghanistan, and look what happened. He showed incredible weakness against Russia. They were not impeded at all by us and went into Ukraine. And now he's showing incredible weakness with China by trying to get the Speaker of the House from his own party to not go to a free and democratic republic to try and just show some support for them. So the weakness is what really worries me. And to circle back to my original point with this CHIPS Act bill, that's why we need to make sure we take care of our manufacturing capabilities and not be reliant on foreign manufacturers for key items like high-end chip manufacturing. That goes in all our cars, it goes in our missile defense systems, it goes in all our high-tech industries. We can't have China be holding to China with respect to those things.
Yeah, you know what? Good points. It would be great if we had a president who's looking out for the homeland, looking out for the people. Yeah. It doesn't seem like that's the case. But Congressman John Katko, always smart. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.